There was an attack on the World Trade Center, but not what you're thinking of. 8 years earlier, on Friday, February 26, 1993, in New York City at the World Trade Center at 12:17 p.m. Eastern Time, a bomb detonated under the World Trade Center's North Tower parking garage, killing 6 people and injuring more than 1,000. And it caused a lot of damages and destructions. The terrorists, the perpetrators, were none other than Al Qaeda, who were the same group that was responsible for the 9/11 attacks 8 years later. The main perpetrator, Ramzi Youssef, ended up being caught 2 years later in the year 1995 and was extradited from Pakistan back to New York City to face terrorism charges. One interesting thing about the trip back to New York City was that while the FBI agents were transporting Ramzi Youssef back to the federal courthouse to face terrorism charges, they flew purposely over the World Trade Center Twin Towers and pointed out to him that he had failed in destroying them, in which Ramzi Youssef said something in the lines of, if he had more money and more devices, that they wouldn't be standing, and that they would try to strike again next time, in which he was proven to be right. The 1993 World Trade Center bombing is unfortunately mostly forgotten by many due to being overshadowed by the 9/11 attacks on Tuesday, September 11, 2001. Now, going to 9/11 attacks, on Tuesday, September 11, 2001, 4 planes had struck 4 targets. 2 planes struck the World Trade Center, and then a 3rd plane struck the Pentagon. And while the 4th plane was heading towards Washington, D.C., reaching towards the White House or the U.S. Capitol, but upon passengers inside United Airlines Flight 93 learning about the attacks that were going all around, they decided to lead a revolt against the hijackers, in which they ended up doing. And it was from 6 minutes from 9:57 a.m. up until 10:03 a.m. when United Airlines Flight 93 crashed. Now, in the World Trade Center, American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower at 8:46 a.m. between the floors 93 and 99. And it trapped everyone that was in the 92nd up to the 110th floor. None of them got out. The second plane, United Airlines 175, struck the South Tower at 9:03 a.m. And many people in the South Tower were trapped as well. Only one staircase survived, while the other staircases were destroyed. The 3rd plane, American Airlines Flight 77, struck the Pentagon at 9:37 a.m., and it killed 125 people altogether. The 3rd plane, United Airlines Flight 93, struck the Pennsylvania field at 10:03 a.m. The South Tower of the World Trade Center collapsed at 9:59 a.m., while the North Tower collapsed at 10:28 a.m. The 9/11 attacks ended up killing 2,977 victims, and both attacks had left devastating impacts on the United States of America, although 9/11 obviously was the most memorable one and led to more destruction. 6 years before 9/11, there was another terrorism bomb, but this time it was in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. On April 19th, 1995, a bomb detonated outside the Alfred P. Murray Federal Building at 9:02 a.m. Central Time Zone, and it ended up killing more than 100 people, including 19 children. The 2 people that were responsible for the Alfred P. Murray Federal blasts were Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols. Both of them ended up getting caught, with Timothy McVeigh ended up being sentenced to death, in which he was executed on June 11, 2001, which was ironically exactly 3 months before the 9/11 attacks, while Terry Nichols ended up receiving a life sentence. terrorism in the United States before 9/11 wasn't all that much of a concern. But ever since 9/11, that had been a major concern and major goal for the U.S. government to stop it at any time.